Hi, I'm Cynthia Rachel and I work for the U.S. Geological Survey Water Science Center in Michigan. And I'm standing right by one of our stream gauging stations that we have here at the Red Cedar River near Williamston. USGS operates over 3,500 stream gauges all across the country. In Michigan, we operate 180 alone. And basically, what a stream gauge is it's a station that monitors stream flow, but it also monitors other types of water quality parameters. Here, this one in particular is only looking at stream flow. Others will look at temperature, dissolved oxygen, conductivity, and just about any other type of water quality parameter that the local residents would be interested in.
The Red Cedar River, a westward flowing waterway in Michigan's capital region, supplies water to a watershed larger than 472 square miles in area. The tragedy of this statistic is that the river's water is so polluted that it is not even safe to enter about a quarter of the year due to toxic bacteria and pollutants such as E. coli, Giardia, road salt, pesticides, and petroleum oil products.
Our investigations took us to Fitzgerald Park in Grand Ledge, Michigan. We hoped to find disturbing footage for our documentary. Unfortunately, we found just that. This bittersweet discovery brought us to the sobering reality that water pollution is happening just around the corner. This is a multi-step treatment plant that attempts to separate sediment and harmful pollutants from raw waste before releasing it directly into the Red Cedar River. But the fact of the matter is, these methods are minimally effective and not designed to remove all harmful toxins. The region's majestic landscape and variety offers home to countless forms of wildlife. But how are these affected by the constant incoming processed sewage? That is where the USGS testing facilities come in. They have found that enough pollutants make it through the sewage treatment process that in certain areas of Michigan, it is possible to find traces of dissolved prescription drugs that have entered the water systems through improper disposal and human waste. These drugs have effects on fish reproduction cycles and carry serious ramifications for the affected areas.
Michigan's primary source of energy comes from burning fossil fuels to create electricity. When fossil fuels are burned, the result is nitrogen oxide, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. All of these gases contribute to acid rain. Acid rain is a major source of pollution in Michigan's water ecosystem, and it continues to disrupt normal life cycles within Michigan's water systems. This means that every individual's energy consumption is directly related to our water's pollution.
Well, coal is getting a lot of heat these days, no pun intended, because coal obviously creates a lot of issues with acid rain, for example. Acid rain can affect our lakes, and being in the Great Lakes state, that's a big issue. Got a little chart here. Kind of talks a little bit about your ecological footprint. And I don't know if you can see that. I can send you the graphic if you like. But recycling is about 6% of our ecological footprint. If we compare that to things like food, transportation, products and things that we buy, and housing. It's a small but important piece of that whole ecological piece. My thought is that if we can get our recycling rates up high enough, we can actually reduce the amount of trash that we pick up. And we spend a lot of energy and resources picking up trash. In a lot of communities, it's every week. We got this big old honking truck coming down every street, wear and tear on the streets, a lot of diesel fuel. So what if we could come by once every couple weeks, or once every month to pick up trash? That would save a lot of energy.
Well, I can't think of any more questions if you have anything you want to add. But.
I guess I just reinforce the point that it's decisions that you and I make that are going to make the difference. Mm-hmm. And it's cool projects like the one you're involved with that are kind of forcing people to think about things, and then sharing that with other people. And it's what you learned and what are some of the real issues.
Off camera, Cynthia Rachel told us that in previous weeks, the government had a difficult time making financial decisions for the USGS budget. Because of the recession, government has been forced to make job-sacrificing cutbacks. Many officials in charge of budgeting the government spending do not consider the USGS to be a priority organization to save through the cuts. It has been debated several times whether or not the survey should continue to be funded by the national government. Without the USGS, companies would be forced to collect their own data, which would make the process less efficient and more difficult. Others argue that it is the government's responsibility to preserve our natural resources for the future.
Here, this one in particular is only...
Regardless of whose side you take, whether you believe that the bulk of the task is up to the people to become more efficient in their daily lives, or if you think that the government needs to put a larger focus on funding programs that promote water purity, there is no escaping the fact that water pollution is a growing crisis in Michigan's ecosystem. Every day the statistics worsen. The only reason that this problem has stayed out of public view for so long is because of the sheer quantity of fresh water in our region. Entire economies have been built and sustained on Michigan's abundance of water for hundreds of years. This is why it is so important that this ecosystem receives attention immediately. In Michigan, we pride ourselves on being the Great Lakes state, and more than just our health depends on this precious water.
Because I think that's what Michigan's known for. We are the Great Lakes state. I mean, that's one of the things that draw us to come here. So, I mean, I think you'd be hard-pressed to make the argument that our economy is not tied to water. That's my opinion.
Try and reduce our dependence on imported oil and natural gas, there's pressure to produce it in the States. So does that mean more fracking? What the frack is going on?